Hey, what's up guys? So many of you have saw my previous 2013 BMW 328i review that was done about 3.5 years ago. Time flies, right? And a lot of you have followed up and asked me to do a updated review now that I've had the car for a while. I have been procrastinating, mainly because I have not washed my car for a long time and finally I got it washed. So I figured, okay, all right, let's answer your questions and give you guys an update on how the car has been treating me. So if you have not seen my previous review, it may be pretty helpful to go check it out first so you know where I'm coming from, and I will include the link down here if I've done it right, and I'll include it in the description, video description below as well. So a really quick recap in a nutshell: I am not a car guy. I am afraid of hassles. I just want something that works. Basically, I'm a Apple iPhone guy, not a Android guy, because I would prefer something that just works. And when I first got this car, vanity is a huge factor, because I was starting a freelance business and would like something that will help me visually when I meet with clients. They'd be like, hey, this guy is driving a pretty mature car. So yes, vanity does play a factor as well. I am into performance in the sense that I would like to be able to beat other cars off the line at the traffic light just so I can merge in. Not so much that I want to be the fastest car out there, because that's not what I'm into. I just want it to be fast enough that I can be safe, and also I can get where I need to go to. For example, like changing lane on the highway mergings, right? So that's important to me. I went for the 328i instead of the XI, I being a rear-wheel drive and XI being all-wheel drive, because I keep hearing that the rear-wheel drive just feels a lot nicer when you're driving it in terms of how it feels, versus all-wheel drive is powerful, but then it feels a little bit more restricted. So I went with the rear-wheel drive because I live in Maryland on the East Coast, so it does not snow that much. When it does snow, I do have a set of winter tires along with rims that I can just swap on. I picked one up from Craigslist, almost brand new, for I think it's like a little bit north of $1,000, so it's not bad at all. So I will swap the tires out every year, and it has been performing beautifully up to maybe 3 or 4 inches of snow. So yes, with a rear-wheel drive plus winter tires, your car can perform a lot better, I would dare say, compared to all-wheel drive with all-season tires. So snow did not bother me as long as I changed my tires. And just to drive home how procrastinating I am, I did not swap out my winter tires until mid-July. How bad is that, right? Okay, so I think that kind of paints a picture of who I am and what I'm looking for in terms of a car. So now let's get down to business. I have had this car for about 3.5 years now, and I have well, I do have some complaints, but for the most part I have no complaints, especially when it comes to power and how it handles. It is extremely powerful, at least for me, and it handles really well. There are a couple instances where I had to swerve hard on highway, like people are merging into me, and I need to get out of the way. And one case came to mind. I was on winter tires, so the turn radius is a little bit smaller, and the car turned fast. The car was swerving into my lane. I freaked out, I swerved, and then I thought for sure I'm gonna flip because the front end dipped down, but the car just beautifully took the turn and then straightened itself out. So in terms of handling, I have no complaints at all. The turning radius is small for a car this size. Initially, I thought the car is a little bit heavy compared to where I came from, a Mazda 3. But the power compensated for that really nicely. So I'm sort of like, how it drives, fantastic. Now, reliability, I think in terms of reliability, so far I have no issue at all. I know BMW has a reputation of issue with electronics, and I was kind of bracing myself. However, I had no issue so far in 3.5 years. One minor problem I did have is actually about 2 or 3 months after I got the car. I was driving on a gravel road with a lot of little pebbles, and I guess one must have went into the transmission at the bottom of the car, so it rattled a little bit, and then all of a sudden the car just lost a lot of power, and I was freaking out. But after turning the car off, turning it back on again, things kind of sorted itself out and everything was fine. And that was the only hiccup I have had with this car. So I'm really impressed. Now, one major complaint I do have is actually, it has nothing to do with performance. And let me show you. Let me turn on the... Oh, I also coded the car. There was the guy that can like do different programming and stuff like that to the car. I turn off the seatbelt alert and also the startup screen where you have to like click away to acknowledge some kind of disclaimer. That was annoying. So we coded it, got rid of that. That's the end of that. So what really bugs me about this car is the GPS. It's so bad compared to Google Map, Waze, and all even the portable GPS. At one point I thought about just bringing back out my old Garmin just so I don't have to use a BMW onboard navigation. And it's bad in the sense that the POIs, point of interest, some of them are really off. When it says I arrive at some place, I may be like at least 10 minutes away based on Google Map, and it's kind of ridiculous. You may be saying, okay, they may be old data from when I first bought the car 3.5 years ago, but I have updated the map maybe 2 years afterwards. So it is relatively up to date, and the points are just, some of the points are just way off. Of course, the more common stuff is relatively safe, like if you're going to a movie theater, shopping center, university, those are usually accurate. It's the more specific restaurants, etc. that this is just terrible. The system itself is good. I still use it. I try to use it simply because it's an easier way to hear the navigation, so I don't have to hook up the Bluetooth to my phone in order for it to access the in-car speaker. So usually I still try to use the in-car navigation. However, if I'm going to some place that I need to be there on the dot, or if I'm going to some place that's a little bit more out there, I will spend the time to set up the Bluetooth connection and then use Google Map from my phone, which is a shame. Another complaint I have is also electronic, also to do with this unit. Entering information into the system is a pain in the ass. There's no way around it. I don't even know why they use a little spin wheel to select the characters. I think Ford Focus and a lot of other cars that use touchscreen now, I think that's ideal. And I know the later generation, actually I think it's starting 2014, I just missed it. Some of the BMWs, they have the touchscreen here, so you can actually draw out the characters, which I think is a lot better. And I'm sure touchscreen is the way, well, I'm sure it's already here. But it's just a shame that I missed that period. And right now, if I need to enter things, I still need to use this little wheel. So it is terrible user experience. So car drives perfectly, reliability, no issue so far. Major complaints is from interacting with the system, as well as the reliability of the GPS point of interest that are installed on the system. Also, it's more like a niche complaint. This car cannot display Chinese characters. I'm Chinese, and I play a lot of Chinese songs, and the characters show up as question mark, question mark, question mark. How much memory would it take to just install a set of Chinese characters? Seriously. And I don't think there's any way to add it on, so I guess I'm stuck. So those are my major complaints with this car. Again, everything else is great, this unit sucks. Reliability, at least up to 3.5 years, is great. Although a lot of people say these type of cars start breaking down after the 4-year mark, and that's why the factory warranty usually ends around 4 years, and I should start looking into selling it by year 5. This may be something you should consider. It's really hard to say how reliable this car will be long term, simply because this car came out 2013. We don't know how good it is until it gets to that point at like year 5, year 6, right? So from what I can see at 3.5 years, so far everything looks good. I have not done any special maintenance to it. It's just like whenever it tells me to go take it to the BMW dealership for oil change or major service, I do it. That's pretty much it. I know a lot of people, they increase the interval of oil change, especially if they own their own BMW, simply because the interval between oil change is really long. I thought about doing that, I have not done it simply due to the laziness, not because like there's a better reason not to. So if you do own your car like I do, please do a better job than me and take care of your baby. So that is pretty much it with this car. Really no complaints, everything looks good. The red leather did not fade over time. My car just dirty even though I just washed it. And that is pretty much it from my point of view of owning this car for 3.5 years. Time does fly. But yeah, if you have any additional question, please leave a comment. If I cannot answer it, I'm sure other BMW owner that owns this family of car will chime in, and because on the previous video there are a lot of discussion going on in the comments, which I love, by the way. And if you do live in Maryland, right, you see me on the road, go ahead and wave, be like, yo. Well, don't just honk at me. I'll think I've done something wrong. I'll just stare at you back. So just wave at me, be like, yo, I've seen your YouTube video, and I'll be like, hey, what's up? All right, guys, hope this had been helpful and hope this had helped you with your decision. And if you're interested in reviews like this, go ahead and check out my YouTube channel. I feel like if you're looking at this car, we may have pretty similar personality as well as stage in life. So you may be interested in some of the stuff that I'm doing right now. And I do a lot of reviews. I'm really critical, as you can see in my videos. Not this one though, because so far this car has been treating me really well, and I really don't have anything to complain about. So, oh yeah, one more question. Knowing what I know now, 3.5 years later, would I be willing to spend the same amount of money, about $40,000 to $43,000, to get the same car? I think I would. Oh, actually, that's the whole thing I did not cover. Here, let me step back out. I'm terrible. Okay, but yes, I would, even though in the past video I just say like 10,000 of it is pretty much money for vanity, I still think I would pay the money to get the same car if I had the choice again, because it is a great car. Okay, the major thing that I did not cover is how powerful it is. And so, as I mentioned, I'm not like a speed racer or anything like that, far from it, I'm a commuter. So for the most part, I drive this car in comfort mode. And sometimes I'll drive it up and like, huh, this car feels nice. It's just only slightly more powerful than my Mazda 3 though. Why did I get this car? And then I will remember that, hey, I'm just driving this in comfort mode. And that's when I'll switch it to sport mode. And holy crap, this thing comes to life. The car becomes a lot lighter, a lot more maneuverable. And that's when I was like, okay, this is a BMW. But yes, this car in comfort mode is comparable to the Mazda 3. And once you switch into sport mode, just like a totally different beast. I just want to bring that up. But I switch to sport mode maybe like once every 2 weeks. So yeah, terrible BMW owner, right? Waste of power. But I do enjoy the car. All right, so hopefully this has been helpful. And again, if you have any question, leave it in the comments and we'll get back to you. See you guys.